Today I'm joined by a true MMA OG, Chris Lights Out Lytle. Chris will be competing in his second bare-knuckle boxing match since retiring from MMA in 2011, when he takes on Drew Lipton at Bare-Knuckle Fighting Championships 2 on August 25th, later this month. And just quick apologies beforehand. I had to do this interview in my truck, so I was a little closer to the mic than usual, or as I would have preferred. So there's that, plus a little bit of background noise, so sorry about that. But great chat, great conversation, very interesting perspective and look from Chris on all things combat sports. Hope you enjoy. As far as being a firefighter goes,
Yeah.
Are you still doing that?
Yeah, I've been doing that for 17 years now.
Wow, nice, very nice. So
Yeah.
I guess that'll just bring me right to it then. So why does a 43-year-old retired MMA fighter and a firefighter from Indianapolis,
Yeah.
choose to come back to the combat sports world and fight in bare knuckle boxing?
Well, this is the weird thing, and the thing that I think most people would think is just nuts. Is this is about fun for me. This is something that I want to do. It's obviously not about a need to do. It's not like financially this is going to make or break me. It's just I remember when I first saw it, bare knuckle boxing. Somebody I knew was doing. I said, "What the hell are they doing?" And I clicked on it, and I watched it. And after I got done, I was like, "Man, I kind of want to do it." It was just weird. It reminded me the feeling of watching it reminded me of back when I first started seeing, the UFC, something way
Mhm.
back in the day. It was just, almost like a forbidden fruit, something you're not supposed to do. And this bare knuckle boxing got to have that same allure to it. So it's like a new challenge, something different. I feel like I've been a combative sport athlete, for 20 years, and it's
Mhm.
just something I'd like to try and do. But the whole idea of like a mixed martial arts fight, I'm past that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's so much harder when it comes to the training and all the time, energy, effort. I've had a lot of pro boxing matches, so this is similar to that. I know how you train for boxing a lot easier on my body, mind, everything. So when I saw this, it had the perfect combination of everything. It's something that I knew I'd been missing in my life for a while, and this is a good way to go back and get it for a little bit. I don't know how long I'll do it,
Mhm.
but I'm sure it won't be a long time. Like you said, I'm 43. I want to correct that. I'll be 44 by the time I fight. My birthday's coming up in about a week.
Well, happy early birthday.
Thank you, thank you.
So yeah, you've boxed before, like just as a professional boxer, and so
Yeah.
doing bare knuckle. How much different is that for you?
Oh, it's way different. I mean,
Yeah.
people don't realize just going in and training a little bit and sparring with boxing gloves and then taking them off. Whoa, night and day.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize how much of a difference that there is. I can block so many shots with the big boxing gloves on, and you can parry them, and you can move out of the way, and you can cover up. If you do that with no gloves, some of those are going to sneak through, and you're going to get hit, and you're going to cut open. Like, well, that was
Hmm.
a big mistake. So, just knowing that makes it, you have a whole different level of confidence with gloves on, because you can come in, you can block. You can't do that with no gloves. Plus, if you get hit with a clean shot, there's a pretty good chance you're going to get knocked out or cut open. So I think you have to be much more precise with your punches. You can't just let them fly, hit a guy on the top of the head, you might break your hand. And you can't just run in there and try and start trading punches. It might hit you with a stiff jab and cut you open over the eyebrow. So you have to be a lot more judicious with your punches and just decide when I'm going to throw and when I'm not, when I'm going to move, and when. I mean, it's a lot more of a technical aspect, like the sweet science, how to hit
Hmm.
and not get hit.
Yeah. Yeah. So you kind of have that unique perspective of like gloves, no gloves, MMA gloves. Everything pretty much now. And Joe Rogan's kind of been an advocate for no gloves lately, or I don't know how long he's been saying it. But what do you think about that? Do you prefer no gloves now? Is there, like, how do you
Like with
think?
the UFC, is he talking?
Yeah. Like in MMA, he's like, yeah, it'd be better off with
Sure.
no gloves.
I mean, I used to fight with no gloves back a long, long time. I mean, I started fighting in 1998. Sometimes you have gloves. Sometimes they were a little. I mean, like not real gloves. They were
Hmm.
just pathetic little look like little socks on your hands or something. I don't know. I fought in pancration, or pancrase over in Japan where you didn't have gloves, but you had an open handle slap. Just all kinds of weird wherever you went. I think no gloves would be fine. I think the only benefit really from the fighter standpoint is protect your hands, protect your knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think most people realize that's one of the main benefits. Is from a fighter standpoint, you're not going to be out hurt as much.
Yeah.
So, but then again, I think they didn't give it much time to really learn that the art of everything when the UFC came, because it's people were wearing no gloves, but then again, fights didn't last more than 2 minutes back then. So if the fights would have kept going like that, nobody wore gloves, I think they would adjust and learn when to throw punches, when not to, and how to make it to where you don't break your hand every time. Either that, or the people wouldn't have fought long. So I think they would have figured that out. But as I think people will figure this out.
Yeah, definitely. So you're fighting on the 25th against Drew Lipton, Bare-knuckle Fighting Championships 2. But you also fought back in January in a bare-knuckle boxing match. Was that your first fight back since retiring from MMA?
Yeah. I mean, it was. I hadn't fought in over 6 years. It was. I don't think ring wrestling's the right word, but I mean, you just feel a little different. I haven't been in there a little while, so it took me a minute to get in. Plus, I was doing a whole new sport, so just trying to get used to the different. Like, I went out there and I had all kinds of plans. Like, okay, if this guy starts to throw this wild right hand, I'm gonna throw this uppercut, and then you get out there and you see, hey, if I throw that uppercut and miss, he's probably going to knock me out. So then I had to change and adjust my plans. And, you can have the best game plan in the world, but nothing's the same when you get out there. So it was just good getting out there and having that in my repertoire now. So I feel like I'll be much better this time.
Yeah, for sure. And so, being predominantly an MMA fighter in your lifetime, I suppose, you're used to training for MMA, and then there's that big gap between time. What was the approach and preparation like for coming back to a bare-knuckle boxing match compared to an MMA fight?
Oh, man. And I shouldn't say anything about this, before, but, I mean, the training for this is much, much easier. That's why I could do it. If I was trying to do an MMA fight on my body, I don't think I could get through a camp. With boxing or bare-knuckle boxing, it's like you come in, maybe jump rope or jog or do whatever, and then you shadow box, you hit the mitts for a little bit, you might spar. That's pretty much it. With MMA, that's just the first quarter of practice, and you have to do wrestling, then you have to do jiu-jitsu, then you got to do kickboxing and Muay Thai and clinches. It's so much more involved, and it takes so much more time, and it's so much more taxing on the body. That's another reason I never wanted to really go back to the MMA side. Was it has to dominate your life.
Yeah.
I feel like I figured out a way with this where I can still get enough hours in training and it not dominate my life. As a matter of fact, I know my trainers, just getting older and being smarter and wiser, I know I've had to listen to my trainers more, and they've had to tell me to back off and not train so hard because I just want to keep going. I just know to go one way, and that's hard. And they're trying to tell me, man, your hands are good, your eyes are seeing it, you're just going to do too much and either hurt yourself or, just be overtrained. We don't want that. So I'm trying to listen and not go as hard as I like to go.
So you're saying there's no chance of an MMA return? I mean, we're seeing Chuck Liddell and Tito come back. You're not getting the itch for that?
I'm not saying there's no chance, but it'd cost them a lot of money. They'd have to get paid for it. So if there's somebody out there who wants to pay a lot of money to see me do it, talk to me. We'll talk.
There we go.
Yeah.
So I know it's obviously very early still in the history of the Bare-knuckle Fighting Championship, but they seem to have potentially hit a home run here, when seeing how well the first event did. Are you looking like into the future at all for fighting with them, or is it you just kind of taking it fight by fight right now?
I mean, like I said, I'm sure I won't be doing this very long. Once again, I'll be 44. I don't want to be some of these guys who are, I remember if you'd have told me I'd ever had a fight at 44, I'd have laughed at you, and said it would never happen. But you get away from stuff for a while. You can always tell, once. Well, I feel like if you're a true fighter, once a fighter, it's hard to, it's in your blood, and it's hard to kind of get away from. So, that being said, as long as I feel like I can do this in a safe manner and something that's not going to be detrimental to me, you know, I wouldn't mind. But then if I start taking too many shots and just doing whatever, I'm gonna have to reevaluate things and be like, hey, I'll do this until I die. If
Yeah.
But at some points I need to be smarter about that. So I don't really know at this point. It's kind of open ended right now. I'd like to have something to do with these organizations because when I first went over to England and fought, I came back to the United States and tried to get it legalized here in the state of Indiana. I mean, I met with the commission. I was, hey, this is safer than boxing. This is safer than MMA. You can't try and keep it away for safety reasons when there's no merit to that. And it didn't really happen. So then I didn't really know where to go from there. I was going to go back in England and fight again, but now they've legalized it here. So I'd definitely rather fight in my country here. So,
Yeah, of course.
and I think that this has unlimited potential to grow right now. I think the big how everybody felt about the sport of MMA at first, or the UFC, they looked at it like, oh my God, this is crazy. It was like I'm watching two guys in the cage trying to beat each other. It had this kind of a sense of danger to it, or I don't really know how to describe it, but I mean, I just think something that is completely gone now. I mean, this went mainstream. It's on ESPN. Doesn't seem dangerous. I think that kind of feeling is kind of back with bare-knuckle boxers. Be like, oh my God, they're not wearing gloves.
Mm-hmm.
Not really understanding that it's not, and it's better for your brain now like this. And you might get cut open and bleed more, but you're not going to have the brain damage with it. So I think people don't really understand that, but it just looks, the shock of it is something.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a brand new sport in a way to a lot of people. So, I think you get these combative sports, something new is very good, but it's kind of a weird combination because it's a brand new sport, but yet at the same time, it is extremely old. 150 years ago, they were doing it. So it's got like historical context plus a brand new feel to it. It's an interesting combination of things. So I think there's some good potential here for the next couple of years, and this will do pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. And with that said, do you have? Well, I've been talking back about just going fight by fight and whatnot. Is there a specific opponent though you might be looking at? Like, man, I never got to fight that guy back in the day. Who could I get my hands on now?
Well, man, it's gonna be hard to tell. I don't even know exactly who's interested in fighting this. I feel like I did fight an awful lot of people, and I don't know. I mean, I'm looking to. We'll have to see. We'll have to see after this one if I want to do it again, which I imagine I will, and I'm going to see who's available.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. There's this. I tell people I want to fight somebody who's going to make it tough on me. I want to be in there with them. I mean, this sounds weird, but before I get done doing it, I want to have another fight where, it's a gut check where I have to go in there and overcome some adversity to make it to the end and just make it a tough fight. I mean, those are when I take a step back and look at my career, those are my favorite fights, ones where it was hard for me. It wasn't just, I love my 30-second knockouts. Those are great, but I like 3-round wars a little bit better. When I look at it, I'm like, man, that it proved a little bit more to me than I hit the guy hard once. Who cares?
Yeah, and we know all the fans love your crazy wars that you had back in the day too. So.
Exactly. That I'm not gonna say I didn't really do those because of fans. I love the fact that they like it, but I would have done that. It made me feel good about myself. Even if I were just in the gym and nobody's watching, I would want to fight. I like those fights better because they make me feel good. So it works both ways. I like it, but I would say I'm disappointed if I don't have another fight like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah, maybe this will be it. If not, I'll take another one until I get there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So do you still keep up and watch MMA at all? Just curious.
Of course, man. I still corner some guys. I just got had Andrew Rollwick who's been fighting the UFC, and he's been in my gym. I've been helping him train. You got Matt Mitrione still. He's getting ready to fight in the next leg of the Bellator fight. So our tournament. So I've been around the sport. I've been helping out. I've been paying attention.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm just kind of curious. It's been 6-7 years, since you were in the UFC, and lots changed since then. How do you feel like about today's landscape when you look back at how it was when you fought?
I think it's gone quite a bit different. Obviously, there got to be a little bit more money involved, and I think when they sold, it really showed how big grown.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, they set, the Fertittas did a brilliant job and a beautiful job of, they set it up everything to sell and make that kind of money. I think if you get a valuation of the company right now, it's going to be a fraction of what they sold for.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did a beautiful job of putting on, a lot of fights right then, getting in everybody's mindset, UFC, a lot of fights. And, then they, even made it look uniform with the uniforms, which I think was a terrible move for the fighters, but from a selling point, it worked. And I just think now that they're in a little bit of, people who want it are probably looking at like, hey, this isn't worth nearly what it used to be. A lot of their big name pay-per-view stars are gone. They're desperately trying to bring them back. They're trying to get Conor back now. I don't know what he's getting, but I'm sure it's substantial. Then you got, like, you're bringing in Brock, because the guys have been gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like Randy Couture's, the Chuck Liddells, those, Ronda Rousey, even those big draws are gone. They haven't had them. I mean, now they're grasping at straws trying to get pay-per-view sales, because the last few pay-per-views, I'm sorry, they're good fights. It might be better fights, but they're not the names that are selling.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think, it turned into a conglomeration of more entertainment and fighting. I'm not going to say WWE because that's all fake and entertainment. I mean, I think the thing most people don't realize is they think this is just a pure sport. And it is, but I mean, at the same time, you have to have entertainment value. And you have to have a lot of people to watch it if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. So you have a lot of fighters. You're like, this guy's better than that guy. Why does he get paid so much? Because he sells, 2 million pay-per-views. I don't care how good the guy is. They're going to put him on, and people get mad about CM Punk, how much he gets paid. I'm like, he's a pro wrestling guy. He brought people to watch it. So it doesn't matter how good you are. It matters how many tickets you can sell at the end of the day. And the rest of it's going to take care of itself. Nothing's fake, nothing's fixed, nothing's like that. But I mean, you have to have more than just a great skill set. You have to have an ability to sell. I think that's the main difference from now than when I was there. It was always like that, but I think that's amplified now, like 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you can really deny that.
No, you can, but you're a fool. I mean, I've heard a lot of people complain about this guy deserves this and he deserves that. I'm like, you deserve what you can sell. If you're the best fighter and you can't get 5 people to buy a pay-per-view, you're worth the minimum. I'm sorry. I mean, it doesn't matter if nobody wants to watch you. And if you're 50-50 and everybody's buying your pay-per-view, you're a valuable commodity. I mean, go find your fights. I mean, people won't look at it from any standpoint besides their own. But you have to look at it as, what if you own this company? How would you run it? Exactly, probably maximize your profits. If not, you're an idiot, and you wouldn't be in business to begin with, and it would have never made it this far. So you have to understand that going in. Everybody looks at things from what they think is quote unquote fair, and I'm like, you're just a naive little kid if you don't understand the real world.
Yeah, everybody's got to grow up at some point, right?
Yeah, well, I know. It's like, what, you guys still believing in Santa Claus? What's going on here? I mean, this is not the real world. If you don't get it, then I don't know, man. I'll see on the bus stand there because you're just like a child. I don't understand.
Yes. All right, awesome, Chris. That's all I got for you, man. Thanks so much for taking the time. I can't wait to.
No problem. Hey, I go out on rants sometimes like that. So.
Oh, totally fine. I do the same thing.
Hey, you want to talk politics, religion, anything weird? I'll get on there with it. We can nice talk nonsense forever, and I'll get all mad about it and start yelling.
It happens to the best of us, man. Yeah. All right, man. I wish you the best of luck on the 25th. Can't wait to watch it. Always tune into your fights, no matter who it's against, and I think that everyone should do the same.
Hey, you're the man. I appreciate it.